Basalt. A dark fine-grained volcanic rock. Belated. Coming or happening late or too late. Betterment. The improvement of someone or something. Birthright. A right or privilege that a person has as a result of being born into a particular family, social class, or place. Blackboard. A large board with a dark surface for writing on with chalk. Breather. Informal, a brief pause for rest. Bystander. A person who is present at an event but does not take part. Catchment. The action of collecting water, especially the collection of rainfall over a natural drainage area. Chechen. A person from Chechnya, a self-governing republic in SW Russia. Chino. A cotton twill fabric. Cleanly. In a clean way. Colorless. Without color. Concave. Having an outline or surface that curves inward like the inside of a ball. Consequent. Following a result or effect of something. Cree. A member of an American Indian people of central Canada. Crucifix. A representation of a cross with a figure of Jesus on it. Dazzle. Of a bright light, blind someone temporarily. Decode. Convert a coded message into intelligible language. Discerning. Having or showing good judgment. Duress. Threats or violence used to force a person into doing something. Dyslexia. A disorder involving difficulty in learning to read or interpret words, letters, and other symbols. Earthy. Resembling or suggestive of soil. Equinox. The time or date, twice each year, about September 22nd and March 20th, at which the sun crosses the celestial equator and when day and night are of equal length. Erotica. Erotic literature or art. Escalator. A moving staircase S consisting of a circulating belt of steps driven by a motor. Eulogy. A speech or piece of writing that praises someone or something highly, typically someone who has just died. Eventful. Marked by interesting or exciting events. Fanatical. Filled with excessive and single-minded zeal. Fawn. A young deer in its first year. Fawn. Try to please someone by flattering them or paying them too much attention. Fructose. A simple sugar found chiefly in honey and fruit. Furnishing. Furnishings, furniture and fittings in a room or building. Gaul. A person from the ancient European region of Gaul. Graze. Of cattle, sheep, etc., eat grass in a field. Grower. Someone who grows a particular type of crop. Grunge. A style of rock music with a loud, harsh guitar sound. Illustrative. Serving as an example or explanation. Improvise. Create and perform music, drama, or verse without preparation. Incandescent. glowing as a result of being heated. Indistinct. Not clear or sharply defined. Infallible. Incapable of making mistakes or being wrong. Jolt. Push or shake someone or something abruptly and roughly. Juggle. Continuously throw up and catch a number of objects so as to keep at least one in the air at any time. Jukebox. A machine that plays a selected musical recording when a coin is inserted. Jumpsuit. A one-piece garment incorporating a pair of pants and a sleeve top. Kerosene. A light fuel oil, used in jet engines and domestic heaters and lamps. Magenta. A light reddish-purple color. Methodical. Done or doing something in a well-organized and systematic way. Mince. Cut up meat into very small pieces. Monogram. A motif of two or more interwoven letters, typically a person's initials. Nacho. A tortilla chip topped with melted cheese, peppers, etc. Nanotechnology. Technology on an atomic or molecular scale, concerned with dimensions of less than. Optimist. A person who is hopeful and confident about the future. Overlord. A person who rules or controls many people. Papacy. The position or period of office of the Pope. Phonetic. Relating to speech sounds. Photovoltaic. Relating to the production of electric current at the junction of two substances exposed to light. Pied. Having two or more different colors. Poodle. A breed of dog with a curly coat that is usually clipped. Pus. A thick yellowish or greenish liquid produced in infected tissue. Racetrack. A ground or track for 5-horse or dog racing. Roadblock. A barrier put across a road by the police or army to stop and examine traffic. Roadshow. Each of a series of radio or television programs broadcast on location from different places. Sandbox. A shallow box or hollow containing sand for children to play in. Seagull. A gull. Shag. A thick, tangled hairstyle. Shoemaker. A person who makes footwear as a profession. Shortfall. A situation in which there is less of something than is required or expected. Sift. Put a fine or loose substance through a sieve so as to remove lumps or large particles. Silo. A tall tower on a farm, used to store grain. Soot. A black powdery or flaky substance produced when an organic substance such as coal is burned. Speck. A tiny spot or particle. Stylus. A pointed implement used for scratching or tracing letters or engraving. Sumptuous. Splendid and expensive looking. Suture. A stitch or stitches holding together the edges of a wound or surgical cut. Tailgate. A hinged flap at the back of a truck. Tenuous. Very slight or weak. Tuscan. Relating to Tuscany in central Italy. Tutu. A female ballet dancer's costume consisting of a bodice attached to a very short, stiff skirt made of many layers of fabric and projecting horizontally from the waist. Umbilical. Relating to the navel or the umbilical cord. Unhinged. Mentally ill or unbalanced. Uninterested. Not interested or concerned. Uterine. Relating to the uterus. Vas. A vessel or duct in the body. Veer. Change direction suddenly. Whereupon. Immediately after which. Wither. Of a plant, become dry and shriveled. Wobble. Move unsteadily from side to side. Zed. Brit. Acacia. A tree or shrub with yellow or white flowers, found in warm climates. Adorn. Make something more attractive or beautiful. Aggressor. A person or country that attacks without being provoked. Ambivalent. Having mixed feelings about something or someone. Amethyst. A precious stone consisting of a violet or purple variety of quartz. Antimicrobial. Active against microbes. Babylonian. A person from Babylon or Babylonia, an ancient city and kingdom in Mesopotamia, part of what is now Iraq. P. Adjective relating to Babylon or Babylonia by. Berserk. Out of control with anger or excitement. Bovine. Relating to cattle. Braille. A written language for the blind, in which characters are represented by patterns of raised dots. Candlelight. Dim light provided by a candle or candles. Capricorn. A constellation and the 10th sign of the zodiac, the goat, which the sun enters about December 21st. Catapult. Historical, a military machine for hurting large stones or other missiles. Cervix. The narrow neck-like passage forming the lower end of the uterus. Cheery. Happy and optimistic. Chit. Derogatory, a rude or impudent young woman. Cog. A wheel or bar with a series of projections on its edge, which transfers motion by engaging with projections on another wheel or bar. Coloration. The natural coloring of something. Connective. Connecting one thing to another. Crusty. Having or consisting of a crust. Human. The seeds of a plant of the parsley family, used as a spice. Cutlery. Knives, forks, and spoons used for eating or serving food. Decal. A design on prepared paper for transferring onto glass, porcelain, etc. Deciduous. Of a tree or shrub, shedding its leaves annually. Degenerative. Becoming progressively worse, with loss of function in the organs or tissues. Detract. Cause something to seem less valuable or impressive. Dissimilar. Not similar, different. dissuade. OD or advise someone not to do something. Drab. Lacking brightness or interest, dull and dreary. Eggplant. The dark purple, egg-shaped fruit of a plant of the nightshade family. Enmity. The state of being an enemy, hostility. Eucalyptus. An evergreen Australasian tree whose leaves produce a strong-smelling oil. Evaporate. Turn from liquid into vapor. Exorbitant. Euphorisonably high. Expat. And adjective informal short for expatriate. Eyelid. Each of the upper and lower folds of skin that cover the eye when closed. Ferret. A domesticated albino or brown polecat, used, especially in Europe, for catching rabbits. Financier. A person who manages the finances of governments or other large organizations. Fitter. A person who puts together or installs machinery, engine parts, or other equipment. Flagrant. Very obvious and unashamed. Florist. A person who sells and arranges cut flowers. Foreplay. Sexual activity that precedes intercourse. Garb. Clothing of a particular kind. Glaucoma. A condition of increased pressure within the eyeball, causing gradual loss of sight. Goosebumps. A state of the skin in which small bumps appear and hairs are erect, resulting from cold, emotion, or fear. Granular. Resembling or consisting of granules. Grocer. A person who sells food and small household items. Hindrance. A thing that delays or impedes someone or something. Hula. A Hawaiian dance performed by women, in which the dancers sway their hips and use a variety of hand motions. Inanimate. Not alive. Inca. A member of a South American Indian people living in the Central Andes before the Spanish conquest in the early 1530s. Inflate. Expand something by filling it with air or gas. Intermission. A pause or break. Irreplaceable. Impossible to replace if lost or damaged. Kilogram. The SI unit of mass, equal to 1,000 grams, approximately 2.205 IB. Landline. A conventional telecommunications connection by cable laid across land. Legislate. Make laws. Liberian. A person from Liberia, a country in West Africa. Lingo. Lingos or lingos, informal one of foreign language. Marlin. A large edible fish of warm seas, with a pointed snout. Matron. A dignified or sedate married woman. Meaty. Resembling or full of meat. Mouthful. A quantity of food or drink that fills or can be put in the mouth. Mutton. The flesh of mature sheep used as food. Ohm. The SI unit of electrical resistance. Outflow. A large amount of something that moves or is transferred out of a place. Outperform. Perform better than someone or something else. Overture. An orchestral piece at the beginning of a musical work. Par. A young salmon or trout up to 2 years old. Pepperoni. Beef and pork sausage seasoned with pepper. Pitchfork. A farm tool with a long handle and sharp metal prongs, used for lifting hay. Placid. Not easily upset or excited. Pleistocene. Geology relating to the first epoch of the Quaternary period, from 1.64 million to about 10,000 years ago, a time that included the Ice Ages and the appearance of humans. Pox. Any disease caused by a virus and producing a rash of pus-filled pimples that leave pockmarks on healing. Pretense. An attempt to make something that is not the case appear true. Principled. Based on one's beliefs about what is right and wrong. Progesterone. A hormone that stimulates the uterus to prepare for pregnancy. Puritan. Puritan, a member of a group of English Protestants in the 16th and 17th centuries who sought to simplify and regulate forms of worship. Quart. A unit of liquid capacity equal to 1/4 of a gallon or 2 pints, equivalent to approximately 0.94 liter, or 1.13 liters in the UK. Rabble. A disorderly crowd. Raisin. A partially dried grape. Reappear. Appear again. Rearrange. Arrange something again in a different way. Redeemer. Person who redeems someone or something. Reissue. Make a new supply or different form of a book, record, or other product available for sale. Resistor. A device that resists the passage of an electric current. Restructure. Organize something differently. Revolting. Causing disgust. Rhapsody. An expression of great joy or enthusiasm. Rhea. A large flightless bird of South American grasslands, resembling a small ostrich with grayish-brown plumage. Roux. Cooking a mixture of fat, especially butter, and flour used in making sauces. Ruddy. Of a person's face, having a healthy red color. Rune. A letter of an ancient Germanic alphabet used especially in Scandinavia. Sahib. Indian, a polite way of addressing a man. Saucepan. A deep cooking pan with a long handle and a lid. Schism. A split between strongly opposed groups within an organization, caused by differences of opinion or belief. Seer. A person who is supposedly able to see visions of the future. Sepsis. The presence in tissues of harmful bacteria, typically through infection of a wound. Skew. Suddenly change direction or move at an angle. Skydiving. The sport of jumping from an aircraft and performing acrobatic maneuvers in the air before landing by parachute. Snappy. Informal one, irritable and sharp. Sneaker. Informal, a person who behaves in a secretive and underhanded way. Snort. An explosive sound made by the sudden forcing of breath through the nose. Snowboard. A board resembling a short, broad ski, used for sliding downhill on snow. Solitaire. Any of various card games for one person, played by trying to use up all one's cards by forming certain sequences. Sparing. Using or giving only a little of something. Stakeholder. A person with an interest or concern in a business or similar venture. Stanza. A group of lines forming the basic recurring unit in a poem, a verse. Stipend. A fixed regular sum paid as a salary or allowance to a clergyman, teacher, or public official. Superannuation. Regular payment made into a fund by an employee toward a future pension. Swimwear. Clothing worn for swimming. Terraced. Having been formed into terraces. Typography. The art or process of preparing material for printing, especially of designing how printed text will appear. And verb informal short for umpire. Unforgivable. So bad as to be unable to be forgiven or excused. Uninhabited. Having no people living there. Untenable. Not able to be maintained or defended against attack or objection. Unwavering. Not wavering, steady or resolute. Uranus. A planet of the solar system, seventh in order from the Sun. Veritable. Rightly so called, used for emphasis. Watchman. A man employed to look after an empty building, especially at night. Xerox. Trademark one, a xerographic copying process. Yeti. A large hairy man-like creature said to live in the highest part of the Himalayas. Abject. Very unpleasant and degrading. Actionable. Law giving someone grounds to take legal action. Affective. Psychology relating to moods, feelings, and attitudes. Afield. To or at a distance. Alight. And adjective one, on fire. Alight. Alight on, of a bird, land or settle on something. Amazement. A feeling of great surprise or wonder. Apnea. A medical condition in which a person temporarily stops breathing, especially during sleep. Armpit. A hollow under the arm at the shoulder. Austere. Severe or strict in appearance or manner. Backer. A person, institution, or country that supports something, especially financially. Bailiff. An official in a court of law who keeps order, looks after prisoners, etc. Blissful. Extremely happy. Blister. A small bubble on the skin filled with watery liquid, typically caused when the skin is rubbed against another surface or by burning. Blockage. An obstruction that makes movement or flow difficult or impossible. Bloodbath. An event in which many people are killed violently. Bower. A pleasant shady place under climbing plants or trees. Buoy. A floating object anchored to the seabed that marks safe navigation channels for boats. Celeb. Informal, a celebrity. Chalice. Historical, a goblet. Consignment. A batch of goods delivered or sent somewhere. Conundrum. A confusing and difficult problem or question. Coursework. Work done during a course of study, usually counting toward a final grade. Coven. A group of witches who meet regularly. Criminology. The scientific study of crime and criminals. Disorganized. Not properly planned and controlled. Doggy. Variant spelling of pokey. Duchy. The territory of a duke or duchess. Ecumenical. Representing a number of different Christian churches. Episodic. Made up of a series of separate events. Eskimo. A member of a people inhabiting northern Canada, Alaska, Greenland, and eastern Siberia. Extremity. The furthest point or limit. Femur. Femurs or femora/femorous/, the bone of the thigh. Fowl. Also domestic fowl, a domesticated bird kept for its eggs or flesh, a cock or hen. Foxy. Resembling a fox. Gelatin. A clear water-soluble protein obtained from animal bones, used in food preparation, photographic processing, and glue. Gestation. The process of developing in the uterus between conception and birth. Guillotine. A machine with a heavy blade that slides down a frame, used for guilt beheading people. Gull. Fool or deceive someone. Gusto. Enthusiasm and energy. Halfback. Football, an offensive back usually positioned behind the quarterback and to the side of the fullback. Handout. An amount of money or other aid given to a person or organization. Headband. A band of fabric worn around the head as a decoration or to keep the hair off the face. Heretic. A person who holds beliefs or opinions that go against traditional religious doctrine. Hernia. A condition in which part of an organ, typically the intestine, protrudes through the wall of the cavity containing it. Hummus. A thick Middle Eastern dip made from chickpeas pureed with olive oil and garlic. Indiscriminate. Done or acting at random or without careful judgment. Individualism. Independence and self-reliance. Infernal. Relating to hell or the underworld. Instill. Gradually establish an idea or attitude in someone's mind. Invalidate. Make or prove an argument or theory to be incorrect or faulty. Jazzy. Relating to or like jazz. Kingpin. A main or large bolt in a central position. Kiosk. A small open-fronted cubicle from which newspapers, refreshments, or tickets are sold. Leprosy. A contagious disease that causes discoloration and lumps on the skin and, in severe cases, disfigurement and deformities. Lisp. A speech defect in which S is pronounced like TH in thick and Z is pronounced like TH in this. Locust. A large tropical grasshopper that migrates in vast swarms and is very destructive to vegetation. Lombard. A member of a Germanic people who invaded Italy in the 6th century. Mallet. A hammer with a large wooden head. Mew. Make a characteristic high-pitched crying noise. Mishap. An unlucky accident. Molasses. A thick dark brown liquid obtained from raw sugar. Monolithic. Formed of a single large block of stone. Mystique. A quality of mystery, glamour, and power surrounding a person or thing. Narcotic. An addictive drug, especially an illegal one, that affects mood or behavior. Nefarious. Wicked or criminal. Nepali. A person from Nepal. Nix. Informal nothing. Normalize. Bring or return to a normal or standard state. Nucleotide. A compound forming the basic structural unit of nucleic acids. Outbound. An adverb traveling from a place rather than arriving in it. Pantomime. An entertainment in which performers express meaning through gestures. Peacetime. A period when a country is not at war. Permian. Geology relating to the last period of the Paleozoic era, about 290 to 245 million years ago, a time when reptiles increased rapidly in number. Peso. The basic unit of money of several Latin American countries and of the Philippines. Pilates. A system of exercises designed to improve physical strength, flexibility, and posture, and to enhance mental awareness. Pita. A type of flat bread that can be split to form a pocket and then filled. Playtime. A period in the school day when children are allowed to go outside and play. Portage. The carrying of a boat or its cargo overland between two navigable waterways. Postcode. Grit. Progeny. The offspring of a person or animal. Pushy. Too self-assertive or ambitious. Quell. Put an end to a rebellion or other disorder. Racecourse. A racetrack. Rainwater. Water that has fallen as rain. Reflector. A piece of material that reflects light, e.g., a piece of red glass or plastic on the back of a motor vehicle or bicycle. Regimental. Relating to an army regiment. Rehabilitate. Prepare someone who has been injured, ill, in prison, or addicted to drugs to resume normal life by training and therapy. Reread. Read a written work or passage again. Roost. A place where birds or bats regularly settle to rest. Savory. A plant of the mint family, used as an herb in cooking. Shalom. Said by Jews at meeting or parting. Shard. A sharp piece of broken pottery, metal, glass, etc. Sieve. A utensil consisting of a wire or plastic mesh held in a frame, used for straining solids from liquids or separating coarser particles from finer ones. Sill. A shelf or slab of stone, wood, or metal at the foot of a window or doorway. Silvery. Like silver in color or appearance. Snapper. An edible sea fish noted for snapping its toothed jaws. Soloist. A musician or singer who performs a solo. Sphinx. An ancient Egyptian stone figure with a lion's body and a human or animal head. Spore. A tiny reproductive cell produced by plants without vascular systems, such as mosses and algae, fungi, etc. Starfish. A sea creature having a flattened body with 5 or more arms. Stifle. A joint in the legs of horses and other animals, equivalent to the knee in humans. Stifle. Prevent someone from breathing freely. Succulent. Of food, tender, juicy, and tasty. Supercar. A high-performance sports car. Superfluous. More than is needed, unnecessary. Swain. Literary, a young male lover. Synchronous. Existing or occurring at the same time. Tasteful. Showing good judgment as to quality, appearance, or appropriate behavior. Tenet. One of the principles or beliefs of a religion, philosophy, etc. Theologian. A person expert in or studying theology. Transcendental. Relating to a spiritual area that is beyond human experience or knowledge. Travesty. An absurd or distorted representation. Undiscovered. Not discovered. Unisex. Designed for both sexes. Vane. A broad blade attached to a rotating axis or wheel that pushes or is pushed by wind or water, forming part of a windmill, propeller, or turbine. Vengeful. Wanting to punish or harm someone in return for a wrong or injury. Whatnot. Informal used to refer to an unidentified item or items having something in common with items already named. Wicker. Flexible twigs, typically of willow, plaited or woven to make items such as furniture and baskets. Yank. Informal short for Yankee. Yankuansk informal. Aback. Shock or surprise someone. Adrenal. Relating to a pair of glands above the kidneys that produce adrenaline and other hormones. Aloof. Cool and distant. Amulet. An ornament or small piece of jewelry worn as protection against evil, illness, or danger. Apologetic. Admitting and showing regret for wrongdoing. Apoptosis. Physiology, the death of cells that occurs as a normal and controlled part of an organism's growth or development. Arcane. Understood by few people, mysterious. Aristocrat. A member of the aristocracy. Astrophysics. The branch of astronomy concerned with the physical nature of stars and planets. Barbershop. A style of singing in which four men sing in close harmony without musical accompaniment. Beanie. A small close-fitting hat worn on the back of the head. Behest. Literary at the request or command of. Bookkeeping. The activity of keeping records of financial dealings. Bronco. A wild or half-tamed horse of the western U.S. Cajun. A member of a French-speaking community in areas of southern Louisiana, descended from French Canadians. Camaraderie. Trust and friendship between people. Cask. A large barrel for storing alcoholic drinks. Catwalk. A narrow platform along which models walk to display clothes. Clog. A shoe with a thick wooden sole. Cranial. Relating to the skull or cranium. Cyberspace. The hypothetical environment in which communication over computer networks occurs. Detach. Disconnect something and remove it. Distasteful. Unpleasant or disagreeable. Dojo. A place in which judo and other martial arts are practiced. Druid. A priest in the ancient Celtic religion. Duvet. A soft, thick quilt used instead of an upper sheet and blankets. Eject. Force or throw something out violently or suddenly. L. The L, an elevated railroad or section of railroad, especially in Chicago. Endogenous. Technical relating to an internal cause or origin, often contrasted with exogenous. Ephemeral. Lasting or living for a very short time. Eponymous. Of a person, giving their name to something. Eurasian. Of mixed European or European American and Asian parentage. Extracurricular. Done in addition to the 455 extravagant normal curriculum. Far away. Distant in space or time. Fleshy. Having a lot of flesh, plump. Fluctuate. Rise and fall irregularly in number or amount. Footpath. A path for people to walk along. Forerunner. A person or thing that comes before and influences someone or something else. Freer. Comparative of free. Free radical P noun, a highly reactive molecule with one odd electron not paired up in a chemical bond. Frontage. The facade of a building. Frustrate. Prevent a plan or action from progressing or succeeding. Fryer. A large, deep container for frying food. Genomics. The branch of biology concerned with the structure, function, evolution, and mapping of genomes. Hadith. A collection of Islamic traditions containing sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. Hoot. A low sound made by owls or a similar sound made by a horn, siren, etc. Humanism. A system of thought that regards people as capable of using their intelligence to live their lives, rather than relying on religious belief. Incarnate. Of a god or spirit, in human form. Incomparable. So good or impressive that nothing can be compared to it. Informer. A person who informs on. Infrequent. Not occurring often, rare. Infringe. Break the terms of a law, agreement, etc. Inquiring. Interested in learning new things. Jap. And adjective informal, offensive short for Japanese. Jekyll. A person who displays alternately good and evil personalities. Juggernaut. A huge, powerful, and overwhelming force or institution. Lackluster. Lacking energy or inspiration. Largo. And adjective music in a slow tempo and dignified style. Larva. The immature form of an insect or other animal that undergoes metamorphosis, e.g., a caterpillar or tadpole. Lint. Short, fine fibers that separate from cloth or yarn during processing. Lira. Pie. Livid, informal, furiously angry. Loon. Informal, a silly or foolish person. Lowland. Also lowlands, lowlying country. Luscious. Having a pleasingly rich, sweet taste. Lux. Luxury. Mainframe. A large high-speed computer, especially one supporting numerous workstations. Manger. A long trough from which horses or cattle feed. Materialize. Become fact, happen. Maturation. The action or process of maturing. Mica. A mineral found as minute shiny scales in granite and other rocks. Minuscule. Very small. Moisturizer. A lotion or cream used to prevent dryness in the skin. Molar. A grinding tooth at the back of a mammal's mouth. Mush. A command urging on dogs that pull a dog sled. Mush. A soft, wet mass. Neolithic. Relating to the later part of the Stone Age, when agriculture was introduced, neologism, and ground or polished stone weapons and implements were used. Nestle. Settle comfortably within or against something. Onus. A duty or responsibility. Onyx. A semi-precious variety of agate with different colors and layers. Osteoporosis. A medical condition in which the bones become brittle and fragile, typically as a result of hormonal changes, or lack of calcium or vitamin D. Palazzo. A large, grand building, especially in Italy. Perceptive. Having or showing sensitive insight. Peri. Around, about. Picker. A person or machine that gathers or collects something.